Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Real Podcasters. This is the show where we talk all things movies, TV shows, video games, and a bunch of other things in no particular order. My name is Regan, as ever, and I'm joined by Dan. Dan's here. Hi, Dan.
Evening.
I'm being nice to you this week. Can you just appreciate that?
Hi, Regan.
Hi, Dan. Hello.
Hi. Hell.
I'll take it. That's fine. As ever, if this
Hello,
is
listeners.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. If this is the sort of podcast that you people are interested in, first of all, of course you are if you're listening to it. Otherwise, I'm a bit concerned, quite frankly. But yeah, if this is the sort of thing that you enjoy listening to, we're available on many platforms. As ever, links in the description below. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, all that sort of stuff. And on most of those, you can also leave reviews, comments, stuff like that. Definitely do that. That'd really help us out, quite frankly. And
yes, it would.
And as Dan says, which I'm going to have to get on a t-shirt, or he's going to have to put on his curtains in the background, it's literally the cheapest thing that you can do.
Yeah. We're going to have to, get, t-shirts made.
We're going to have to
get... The Real Podcasters in quotes.
I was about to say the Real Podcasters merch store. That isn't happening.
Yeah, but I think we should, branch out, everyone's making t-shirts and mugs and all that kind of stuff, right? I think we should go into, the obscurities of merch.
So, socks, I'm thinking?
No, even socks are done. Now, hear me out.
Slippers.
Jam jars.
As long as we don't need to supply the jam. Actually, my girlfriend's mum makes jam, so it's fine. We can do it now.
The Real Podcasters jam.
The real jam busters.
The
jam
real
busters?
jam.
Jamcasters. Jamcasters.
The Jamcasters.
All of a sudden, we're talking about jam. I didn't anticipate this at all.
No. It kind of went on a very big tangent.
I wasn't expecting merch store either, but anyway, yeah, there we go. But yeah, as I say, you can support us on there. We're also available on Instagram and Letterboxd. My stuff is
What
mostly...
about YouTube, Regan? What about YouTube?
Can you stop talking to me about YouTube, Dan?
Yeah, we aren't on YouTube. We haven't been on YouTube for a while because Regan's internet is a bit of a...
Yeah, I don't... It's, again, exporting's absolutely fine. It's just the actual uploading side of things. It just takes way too long. That being said, because we're recording 2 days before I actually do an upload, I might consider doing that again. We'll see. But otherwise, it's doing absolutely fine on the other streaming platforms, so that's absolutely fine with me, quite frankly. But yes, support us all on that. Instagram, Letterboxd, my personal account, link in the description. Dan's got his for Graveyard Chit Chats, where he talks nothing but horror films. Doesn't even log anything that isn't a horror film. So
yeah,
he's actually done really well to add, nearly 600 films?
Around that with Morty Rad.
1,300 and something. Bear in mind, I've been doing it for 4 years.
And bearing in mind, I've been doing it for less than 5, so...
Yes, you have.
Just shows I have no life.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, that was rude. So, last episode was The Mandalorian Season 3. It feels like so long ago for some reason. I don't know why this week has just dragged in between episodes.
It really has.
And now to celebrate Alien Day, which is annoying because by the time this episode goes out, it'll have been a week since Alien Day. Timed that one really, really well, Regan.
It's fine.
We're going to be talking Alien. Now, we did do stuff for Alien Day last year. I think we did a retrospective on most of the franchise.
Yeah, I think we just did it from, the prequels right the way up to Fallen.
Yeah, Fallen, maybe a little bit of AVP, though not
I think we touched on AVP.
Yeah. So that's back at middle of last year. Me and Dan have also covered the films in quite extensive detail on Graveyard Chit Chat. We also saw Aliens last week on actual Alien Day as this goes
Yes.
out. Again,
Yes,
trying to word it as if it wasn't actually like 4 days ago for us, when in reality it's going to be a week by the time the episode
director's
goes
cut.
out. Yes, it was the director's cut. My least preferred version, if I'm completely honest. But that's only because it's just way too long. And I don't need Newt's parents.
It is a little long.
Much like Newt, who also doesn't need her parents. It was a bit dark. Much like the film.
Went really dark.
So trying to think of a topic for Alien Day this time was actually quite difficult. But then I realised, actually, no, it's very easy. We'll talk about the best Alien game ever made, which isn't saying much. It's Alien Isolation. No, it's not Colonial Marines. Or Dark Descent, which is the new one.
Damn it, you spoke too soon.
What can I say, Dan? So yeah, I figured let's talk Alien Isolation, game that released back in 2014. So we could have actually covered it next year, if I'm honest. I couldn't be bothered to wait.
No,
to
you
be
really
honest.
could not wait.
No, I couldn't. I have been so looking forward to this one. So for those who don't know what Alien Isolation is, first of all, if you're an Alien fan, you know exactly what it is. The game is set 15 years after the events of the original 1979 film and follows engineer Amanda Ripley, daughter of Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, as she investigates the disappearance of her mother aboard the space station Sevastapol. Once inside, Amanda discovers that the station has fallen into a bit of a mess, to be honest. Only
Chaos.
like a little bit, though. You know, it's like really like low-level terms.
Oh yeah, just a tiny bit.
Mostly due to an alien creature that's on the loose, as well as some androids that have decided to completely go against their programming entirely and must find a way to escape. So before we delve into any major bits with the game, I thought we'd talk about when we first played the game. So, Dan, being as big an Alien fan as he is, I've got a feeling that you probably played this from the moment it was released.
Surprisingly not.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've really set us up for disappointment, haven't you?
No, I played it like, I'm going to say like 5 years ago or something like this, like pretty late compared to when it first came out.
Mm.
And in that like first go of it, I literally had no idea what the hell I was getting into. Literally.
Yeah.
And I think I got up to like maybe the third mission in before getting a bit impatient.
A little bit.
And just sort of left it off, and then throughout that sort of time period, like those 5 years, just went sort of back and forth on it. Like just did like a couple of missions, played it, and then recently got the game. It's just been sitting in my Steam library, just staring at me in the face, play me.
It's been sitting in your library in the same way the alien has been sitting in that vent waiting for you.
Yep, indeed.
Hopefully it wasn't drooling all over the floor.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, so over the past 3 weeks, I've been on and off with it, while playing other games as well. And surprisingly, I've made exceptional progress.
You have, I'm annoyed. Like, really annoyed.
I won't sugarcoat it, though.
Oh, no. I know exactly what you've done, haven't you? Oh, have you just been lazy? Have you just been playing it on easy?
Oh, no.
Oh,
I always play, like, all games on normal and then go harder difficulty. Oh, don't you eye roll me.
I will.
Not all of us sweat Alien Isolation, right? So, recently played it and got up to mission 3. On and off on a mission because it's just an absolute pain of a mission.
Mm-hmm.
You die, you lose like 15, 20 minutes worth of progress, which just really gets under your skin.
We'll get to that. It's fine. It's okay, Dan. It's okay.
Yes, we're gonna get to that. But now I'm up to mission 13, which it's whatever mission the reactor is.
13 or 14, I think it is. Yeah.
13 or 14, yeah. I'm up to there, and I've stopped for now.
I wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because trying to get out of that sodding reactor is actually really difficult?
Well,
yes.
there are certain aspects, and it's not only just the reactor's difficulty, it's the things that patrol the reactor that are a bit of a problem.
Don't worry, I've got an entire segment for them. It's okay, Dan. He's having some proper Vietnam flashbacks right now. It's brilliant. And now he's on a Twitch.
Yeah, but that's my history with it. It's definitely been a game that's been on and off. This is definitely a game that is a game that I like to take slow. I'm not going to sit for hours on end and just do like 4 missions. Mm-hmm. Well, until yesterday when I just did like 4 or 5 in a row because they were surprisingly okay.
Yeah. I mean, with me, I think I started playing it around 2015, back when I still had an Xbox 360. Because that's how the game initially released, so that's like 2-3 generations ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd asked for it for Christmas, and I didn't get that one. And I think we all know which alien game I got.
No, you
Aliens.
got Colonial Marines. No.
Again, I don't hate that game as much as other people do, mostly because when I got it, I already knew it was terrible, and I didn't have the courage to tell my mum, just like, oh, thanks for getting me a really terrible game for Christmas. I really appreciate it. Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah.
Love you, ma'am, honestly.
It's
fine. To be honest, it honestly wasn't too bad. So I got Isolation after the fact, and then got rid of the 360. Not because of Isolation, I should stress. That would probably had a contributing factor, because my God, is that game difficult. And that's just not normal. But as I said, I didn't play a lot of it, mostly because I just found it too terrifying, quite frankly. Like, it's really got under my skin.
Oh, yeah.
So then when my stepbrother got an Xbox One for Christmas, I then got the game myself. So this is around 2017-ish. Played it on and off. Kind of gave up at mission 4, mission 5, whenever you have to go into the med-based stuff and get the trauma kit. Specifically, get the trauma kit. I was stuck on that for, I kid you not, months, so I gave up entirely. And it honestly wasn't until 2020, the first year of lockdown, that not only did I go back to the game, I finally finished it for the first time. So that is 5 sodding years. It's like Tomb Raider levels of time it takes to complete a game. And here I am on the 6th playthrough. And that's been 3 years. But for me, it's one of those rare games where I am more than happy to go back to it on repeat. I am like you though, I can't sit down on it for like overly long periods of time.
I couldn't do like a full campaign of it in a day.
Yeah. Oh lord, no, absolutely not. No. So the playthrough that I've been doing for the purpose of researching for this episode is 3rd time on Nightmare mode. Though I did skip to mission 3 or 4 when the alien does finally show up unscripted, and then you get to deal with him. Just on your own, it's absolutely fine. Did make a major mistake though, because I forgot to pick up the blueprints for the health packs. So it's anyone's game, frankly. I might not have a lot of health, I don't know, because I can't see. But from the moment I first saw gameplay of Isolation, I knew I wanted to get my hands on it. If you did listen to the Halo 2 episode we did a couple of weeks ago, we very much labelled the game as frustrating, challenging, and severely lacking in the fun departments.
Yes.
I don't know how much Dan's going to agree with me here, but this game is also extremely frustrating, extremely challenging, but it never loses sight, for me personally, of actually being really enjoyable. I'm clearly in the minority of this two-way podcast.
Okay. So, yeah, Halo 2 is a very challenging, frustrating game, even on normal difficulty. Game. Yeah, because it's not very fun at all. It's just designed to boil your absolute blood.
Yeah.
This is probably the scariest horror game I've played.
That seems fair.
And I've played Outlast quite a few times, and Outlast was kind of the king of like horror games now, because it was a horror game that introduced like you played a character, but you had no way of fighting back and killing the villain. You basically had to run and hide, and Alien Isolation took from that.
Yeah,
the fact that you just have absolutely no way of dealing with this alien. You either have to hide or distract it, or even just make it scared.
Yeah.
Crawl away. You know, when you get the flamethrower, you scare it off for a bit.
Mm.
Now, I ain't gonna... I'm trying to pick the word carefully here.
Without, like, doing a load of swearing.
Yeah, basically.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Right, mission 3. Okay.
Okay.
So, obviously this is a mission where Taylor is injured. You have to go and find her some medical supplies. However, that is not as easy as it sounds. You basically have to jump through numerous hoops, avoiding the alien.
Mm-hmm.
And getting to the trauma kit, I'm not even kidding you. That trauma kit part took me at least 15 attempts. I'm not even lying.
That seems fair. That's probably about the same for me. And that, again, I'm referring to this playthrough. I'm not even referring to, like, overall.
Little 6-foot bugger just has to drop down in the vent in the opposite room where you need to be.
Yeah.
So you have literally seconds to react. He's a git.
I mean, you're definitely using nicer language than you did in the text messages, where it's like, Regan, seriously, I'm sick of him. I'm actually sick.
it's not to the level where I'm absolutely hating the game. I do really enjoy the game, actually, but I can't sit and play it for hours on end. Like, I really can't. Like, a couple of missions max, like on like playthroughs and stuff like that. But recently, I just wanted more to talk about, so I just trooped on a little bit more because the missions were actually somewhat less difficult. But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So, moving on, another 3 missions. So, mission 6. I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very close to actually calling it quits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seriously, because of how goddamn infuriated I was.
Which one's mission 6? I forget that one. I don't think I'm actually up to that point yet.
Mission 6... I'm trying to really remember, because all I really remember about that is either I'm murked by the working Joes or I'm murked by the alien.
Oh no, wait, no, how's that? So you've actually... Mission 3, I believe, is still the humans that you're dealing with. Mission 6 is the trauma kit.
Oh, so Mission 6 is the trauma kit. Okay,
yeah.
So Mission 3 is an absolute pain in the arse anyway. Mm-hmm. Because I really tried not to kill the humans, because I just kind of wanted to go for that achievement, as petty as it sounds.
Oh, you see, I was doing really well with that up until the point. It's one of the missions after you get back to Taylor and whatnot. And you have to go and reset some stuff in a room, and you've got one of the working Joes banging on the door. And it wasn't until after I finally killed my first human on that playthrough that I realised, oh, I could have just spun round, pulled down one of the levers, working Joe would have come out, slaughtered the dude who's just walking around looking scared. But again, I didn't want to go too far because I'd skipped a few missions prior. Yeah. I was like, there's no point, because there's going to be no reward, because I'd have to start all over again. And quite frankly, trying to deal with the humans in the first few missions before the alien even rocks up is potentially one of the most annoying things. And
they are honestly, so annoying, man.
I've got 4 more achievements. One of them is get all the archive logs. That's going to take a while. The straw ones, really, really difficult, actually. Complete the game without killing humans, and complete the game without dying. That's never happening. Not unless I can figure out how to sort of like glitch out of the map and then do a speed run of like 15 minutes, and then you just complete the game there and then. Though I feel like that would have been patched by now. We're in 2023.
Probably.
But I know what you mean. It's like
Mission goddamn 6. Honestly, I was ready to give up, dude. Like, that particular bit with the trauma bit was honestly just testing my absolute patience. And
Oh, definitely.
the worst part about it was that after all of that struggle and pain, I get taken out by some goddamn human, and I'm reset like all that progress, and I'm literally at that checkpoint. I've got seconds to react. I was so done. I literally quit the game and I was hovering over the install. I'm like, oh, this is just... this is making me hate life so much right now, but I have to do this. So I took a little break, I made myself a snack and went back into it and it was fine.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, that's usually all it takes, is just taking a little bit of a break from it and then going back to it. I mean, granted, I think I'm on mission 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I knew I was never gonna get past like the level that you were, because work and everything, there's no way I've got the time to do that. But at the same time, I've done this so often now, it's like second nature.
Yeah.
I can easily talk about it. I can't play it. I can talk about it. It's absolutely fine. But I know what you mean. It's so goddamn difficult. Talk about some nice stuff first before we delve into the nitty gritty annoying bits. I really like the choice of having Amanda Ripley as the protagonist of this game.
Oh yeah.
I think that's
Feels
kind
like
of genius.
A perfect sequel in ways.
Yeah, because
Like, it really does.
Because it is like technically a direct sequel.
Because then it just fits into the timeline so well.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the 79 film, you've got Ellen Ripley going missing, you're Amanda Ripley, and then the events of Aliens.
Well, exactly, because there's so much wiggle room left there. And I don't know about like the expanded media and stuff. I don't know how canon the comic books are, if they do delve into Amanda Ripley at all. Beyond like the ones that are directly tied to Isolation. I assume probably not,
there
because
is
there's
a
no
comic
reason
series that ties in with Aliens, like the film, and it's basically like a expanded lore of Newt and the colony and stuff like that. It's a 2-parter. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, actually.
Aye. But it's, as a character, you really do feel for her at times, and it's nice having that connective tissue to the original film. She doesn't really grow as a character though. If I had to get like really critical, like not really. But I'd still say the best moments with her is when she's listening to the flight recorder towards the end of the game, and you hear Sigourney Weaver on the other end. I can remember like my jaw dropping at that point. I didn't realize that Sigourney Weaver was even in the DLC stuff, because I didn't have that at the time.
Yeah,
So,
I got the game that just had like everything with it.
yeah, well, I mean,
So
like I
I'm
do
playing,
now,
like,
but
all
at the
that
time
DLC
it was
stuff as well.
Yeah, at the time it was one of the 2 editions that you could get. But just
Alright.
but just hearing her on the other end was just amazing. And in terms of character stuff in the game, I'd say that's probably my favorite stuff, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Can't really say the same for the rest of the characters. They're all kind of varying degrees of size due to death. Some of them are in more pieces than the other. But no one's really likable, to be honest. But I guess that's kind of the point, because I think one of the things I really like with the character work in this game is that it directly homages what happens with Alien, where all the characters, they care more about their pay, they care more about their contracts and stuff. And these characters, all they do is talk about that sort of stuff. They feel like actual people.
Yeah.
So it's nice that even though you really hate these people, and I certainly do, like I really cannot stand them. Like as soon as they die, I'm like, yes, finally. Especially the Scottish one at the beginning. I don't like him, even though he's supposed to be nice. He was like the first person that died at the hand of the alien. Apologies to any Scottish listeners. I don't mean anything by it.
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean. I mean, I haven't completed the game just yet. I'm very close to it. I mean, literally like 7 missions left or something like that.
So before we actually get to the ending stuff towards the end of this episode, have you actually ever completed the game?
No.
Oh, okay. That's gonna change. That's gonna change the script. So I'll not spoil anything. Well, listen, I'm not gonna spoil a game from 9 years ago. I did.
Thank God.
But again, I honestly just kind of assumed that you'd already finished it before. I didn't realize that it was
never.
Okay.
Honestly, I never ever got past mission 6.
So the playthrough that you've been on, this is the furthest you've ever gotten.
Yeah.
So you haven't gotten past the reactor.
Nope.
Okay, that's fine. We can change it up
because I
That's
was
okay.
like, I've got enough to talk about right here.
Yeah. No. That's absolutely fine. Okay, that's gonna.
Yeah, the characters. Meh.
Never before have I had to sort of tweak the script while we're recording. You really kept this one quiet, didn't you? I've never actually finished the game before. I'm sorry, Regan.
I've never finished it before. No,
fine.
I think the only character that I actually really gave a crap about was Samuel's.
Yeah, I did like that. Ricardo. I actually really like Ricardo.
Especially like after the mission where the working Joes just get a bit more psychotic and start roaming in public places, and all your friends are very dead. And there's just him, a quivering mess, and he just steps up the plate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. But otherwise, yeah, character-wise, it's still mostly just.
I mean, like the marshal and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, you're just basically waiting to die, really. Like, you're just waiting to get your neck snapped by a working Joe.
Of which there's plenty of options to do that on the Sevastapol station, because quite frankly, the design of Sevastapol is just brilliant. Like, I love it. I mean, it's so easy to get lost in.
Oh yeah,
like really easy.
The
especially
amount
if
of
you're on
times that
nightmare
I've
mode.
circled back on myself, I'm just like, yes,
Yeah,
the same
so-
tube.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, because you do have access to like a basic kind of route of like your area, unless you're on nightmare mode, from which case it's like you might as well be blind.
Oh, great.
That's a good point. So you haven't played this on nightmare mode before?
No.
Okay, so for those who haven't played it on nightmare mode, this is mostly just for Dan's benefit. The heads-up display is gone. Can't see it. Resources are very scarce unless scripted to be in certain bits. So your flashlight battery will run out a lot quicker. The actual scanner that you've got will constantly flicker and occasionally might actually be wrong. I haven't really noticed that, to be honest. I think occasionally there might be a bit of a delay.
So it kind of does like what it does in the vents, like where it like flickers a bit, and your objective like sort of flickers between it over here to there. Oh, great!
And even if you collect map details on the screens around the station, doesn't do anything. There is literally nothing. You can't see what it is.
So it's absolutely pointless picking them up on nightmare mode then.
But it's fascinating because I actually still really like that as an idea, because it does make it really challenging, because you really have to remember.
It makes it almost realistic though as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, it's difficult on normal. On nightmare, that just sounds so challenging but fun at the same time.
Yeah, because especially when you consider
because you must have to like really like plan out your strategy towards it. Like, whereas on normal, I'm like, okay, I can see on the heads-up display I have to go here. On nightmare mode, I'm like, well, the alien's down there. If I go this way, I'm going to die for sure.
Yeah.
But
but yeah, you're right. That is absolutely one of the things I really like about it, is the fact that you do really have to strategize, especially because scripting-wise, there really isn't one, which I'll get to with the alien.
I'm assuming on Nightmare that the alien's difficulty in terms of AI goes up. Yeah, I thought it would. So say like on normal difficulty, you throw a smoke bomb, the alien is trying to detect you, and you go hide under a desk, he'll go straight past you. It's like, oh, I've lost him. I'm assuming on Nightmare he's a bit smarter than that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we can talk about the alien stuff now, because I think the way that they designed the creature, not just in the actual visuals, which is spot on, although funny enough, they had to change the leg design quite late in production, so we're going to go very much with like the original Alien from 1979 with the human legs.
Oh, okay, right.
But it didn't work for gameplay wise, so they swapped it out for chicken legs, essentially. Not actual chicken legs, I should stress, because otherwise I'm like, did you grow out of a chicken? Because all of a sudden I really want to see a Xeno chicken. I think that'd be brilliant.
Xeno chicken.
Yeah. No, not as good as the Indominus squirrel, which will never not be funny.
Not that.
Oh, no. There's no context to that. I'm not even going to give any.
No.
But one of the great things with the alien is the artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
where the way it's designed, it's kind of like a tree. So at the start, only a few things are actually unlocked. So as the game progresses, when it looks like it's learning from your mistakes or learning from how it's like evaded you, it's actually just unlocking different bits in its brain, essentially, so it looks like it's learning. Now, in terms of how much that changes in Nightmare mode, I honestly couldn't say too much, because even doing like research on that side of things is fascinating as hell.
Because I know that some horror games do that, like where the central antagonist, its AI, is a lot smarter and, you know, will search more frequently. So if you have like a particular hiding place, that it's going to search there.
Yeah, I mean, the best way I can describe it is like a random example. When you get the flamethrower, the alien is naturally freaked out by fire. If you keep using it on him, eventually he'll not care. And there's a clip.
Really?
I mean, granted, with the Xbox version of the game, like most of my game captures are clips from isolation at this point. And there's a moment, I think, towards the end of the game where it does rock up. You try and like shoot a few flames towards it, and it's like, it's like a little bit flickery, and then just keeps on walking towards you. And then you hit the end of like the elevator, and the door hasn't shut yet. So you're like, well, fecal matter. Much matter.
No, I will say that I will be doing a playthrough on Nightmare mode.
You should do
probably a lot later on.
Yeah.
But honestly, the game just became a lot easier for me once I acquired the flamethrower.
Yeah, having the flamethrower is so satisfying. Not just on the alien, but even on like...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I did get pretty morbid when I first got it, and I kind of went back outside of like the Marshall Bureau, and you've got like a few people just like sat around, purely innocent people, and you're like, does fire hurt humans in the alien universe? Yes, it does, and then it kills you because you've killed someone else. I'm like, Ripley went mad.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot easier. Challenging at the same time, though, because obviously if you get too cocky with it, you use all of it up. And the game is pretty unforgiving when it comes to finding resources anyway. So
that's
finding
exactly that.
Luxury items like flame fuel and even the ammo for the stun button, like that is really, really hard to find.
And even then, that weapon is so temperamental as to whether or not it's actually going to do anything. It's just... No.
Like, honestly, you'll attack one working Joe with it, and it's just like, ha, you what? Or a certain type of working Joe, which I learned is impenetrable to the stun button. Yep, that went down a absolute treat. Not.
Yeah, not really. And that's the thing with like fighting the alien, because you can't actually kill it. That's the actually,
like, you can scare it off, but it's only temporary. And like really temporary.
Oh yeah, very, very temporary. And it's even fascinating to think that actually when they were developing the game, they weren't even going for first person. It was going to be third person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm really glad you changed that, because
I think first person makes it scarier.
Oh yeah, because it's literally... Whereas if it's in third person, you could just hide behind like a barrel and just sort of twist the camera to see where the alien is.
Yeah, you can see all your surroundings.
Yeah. Whereas now, if you want to see behind that barrel, you need to actually turn and look at that barrel.
Yeah.
And I really like the fact that that's how the game is presented, because even with like the rest of the Alien games we've gotten over the years, mostly aliens, because heaven forbid you do like another horror version of Alien. That's also first person. But it never feels that immersive at all.
No.
Even the Alien vs Predator game as well. I think all of those are in first person, but it doesn't.
Yeah, they're all in first person, but it doesn't really up the scare factor or anything like that, because you're pretty much just a killing machine with every playthrough you do.
Yeah, playing as Alien was never fun, to be honest.
I mean, I think the one I played the most was Predator, but then again, like, you're the Predator, you're just like the most OP alien killer ever.
Yeah, true. But of course,
with this, I really like the idea of that you go behind cover and you're not just stuck in cover. Like you have to like kind of like peekaboo.
Mm-hmm.
Sort
And
of like
I will
in and out.
literally,
And that is terrifying sometimes because like, you know, the console room being a very prime example here. You know, the working Joes are doing their thing,
jamming
by being
away.
creepy. Yep. And you know, you just poke your head up, and it's like you really shouldn't be here. I'm like, for God's sake.
Tut tut.
Ask me about Sevastapol safety protocols. I'm like, no, I'm
It's
just
like,
gonna go
"All right,
hide in
then
a
I
vent.
will."
Quite honestly,
Greetings,
if I ask you, will
hello.
you not kill me? If I ask you, will you not throw me against the thing and snap my neck?
Yeah, I suppose we could talk about the working jaws, because obviously the alien isn't the only thing you deal with, and quite frankly, I think it's safe to say that actually the most terrifying stuff in the game is actually the working jaws. I'm quite happy to say, because
I think it definitely comes down to both of them, because honestly, both the alien and the working jaws just catch me off guard so much.
oh yeah,
But the working jaws are a little bit worse for it, because like honestly, you can. It's really terrifying when you're in like smaller rooms and there's an objective in that room and they're just pacing and you just think you've got their behavior figured out and then they totally change it up. I'm just like, oh, screw off. Tut tut.
yeah, you know what? I
shouldn't
think
be here.
the voice,
Like, I kind of need to be.
the voice does a lot to really enhance like how terrifying they are. Like,
I think when you actually see them in the corridors and the glowy eyes is one thing, but the voice, nah.
I also, one thing that it actually reminds me of is actually Edgar in Men in Black, with sort of like the saggy, with like the saggy skin at the neck. And they have that as well. I'm like, that just looks, you look so unfinished, and yet you're so prepared to actually kill me every single time.
It's just the fact that like they don't move their facial features or anything like that. It's just a blank like expression and this really like horrible robotic voice, creepy eyes, and just creepy sentences. To be honest,
Yeah. I think it's safe to say though, I think the most difficult ones are definitely the ones you have to deal with in the reactor, as I've now affectionately called the hazard jaws, which I don't actually know if they've got a name.
I thought they were called hazard jaws.
I thought they were as well, but they don't really have like a specific name for that. They just look like they've been cosplaying a bit of 2001: A Space Odyssey actually, with like the orange jump/space suits, whatever. But even the voice is slightly different.
I think they're creepier than the actual working jaws.
But also because they move slower. It's like classic Terminator, where it's just like it doesn't have to run; it'll just walk and it'll just keep on following you. It's basically an Android version of It Follows. Quite frankly, it just won't stop. It's a very different thing than that. But
the voice is a little. It seems like a higher pitched voice.
I don't even think it's higher pitched. I think it's deeper, or at least it's a little bit more warbled. To be honest,
yeah, I think warbled is the one that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just so creepy. And I mean, my first encounter with them is when you basically just go to try and make contact with Apollo in that gigantic sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like 4 of them in the server rooms, and you've got to basically not get caught and find the correct server, etc. Then do what you have to do with Apollo. But honestly, waiting for them to just go past is terrifying. Because they walk so slow.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally Grandma Joes, not working Joes, Grandma Joes.
I am curious, though, because, again, I'm having to be really careful with not, like, revealing, like, any major stuff, because once it gets past the reactor, there is naturally a lot of stuff. So, have you destroyed the reactor yet? Or have you only just gotten into it?
I've literally just started the reactor mission. Like, literally, to the point where you basically turn off the vent thing, and then that's about it.
So you haven't gotten down to the actual reactor?
No.
Okay. That's going to be really difficult then to discuss, because I'd say that's probably still one of, if not the most difficult missions in the entire game, and also one of the scariest. Which, if you seriously don't know what happens down in that reactor, First of all, good for you, because you do way better at me from, like, avoiding spoilers. Because I find it so goddamn difficult. But I'm going to be nice, and I'm not going to spoil it.
I'm guessing that something is going to reappear. That's all I'm going to say.
It's an alien king. No, it's not. Funny enough, though,
Like,
there was actually going to be an alien queen in the game. They ended up cutting it because it would essentially the game would always be leading up to a boss battle, and the game isn't designed for first-person Ripley versus alien queen, quite frankly.
yeah.
So that's gone. Though I think it's suggested that it's on the station, but I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. That makes about as much sense as having an alien egg on the Sulaco in Threlian. Threlian. But yeah, the reactor stuff I think was the most frustrating. Again, even after so many playthroughs. In this case, it would be the 5th playthrough, and even then,
I've seen that a lot of people say that it is like the hardest alien mission. So I'm really looking forward to that, as you can probably imagine.
If anything,
You know?
I'd probably say it's actually the penultimate mission, where you kind of have to go back on yourself. There's like at one point when there's like a room with like a really long hallway that sort of like swirls around, and you've got to go into different rooms and turn things off. You have to do that in reverse when everything's on fire, and you still have to deal with the alien. And I'm sorry,
no.
I died so many times.
Yeah.
But
Like the ones that involve like flipping breakers and stuff like that while you've got the alien on your tail is just
no thanks.
infuriatingly scary.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Because
that's
it's like,
that. It's still...
I've got like 4 out of 5 of them. Oh, the alien's here. I'm dead.
But I think the best thing, though, is the fact that it doesn't cheat. It never does.
Oh, no.
Like, beyond,
Like,
I think
you go into
there's-
combat on your own risk. So
Yeah.
it's actually on your own head speed.
And even with the alien, I think there's only 2 instances in the entire game where it teleports. Every other time, it reacts to you every single time. Which is what adds to that fear factor, because you legitimately do not know how you're actually going to deal with it every single time you actually go to deal with it. Of course, you've got the odd facehugger as well that pops up. Annoying as poo, frankly. Hate it. I'm really hoping that's not a spoiler. I'm sure facehuggers pop up before the reactor, so...
I mean, I haven't encountered any, so...
Oof, sorry. Spoilers. You get to deal with a couple of
I mean, I
facehuggers.
was kind of going to guess that like facehuggers were going to be in there somewhere.
Let's just say that you think it'd be really cruel, and you'd assume that I'm lying when I say there's a moment where you have to go through vents, and a couple of facehuggers start chasing you.
Oh, great.
Yeah, have fun. Just don't do it on nightmare mode. It was horrible on nightmare mode. Nice.
Well, yeah, because you're not going to have a heads-up display, so you're never going to know where the hell they're coming from.
But yeah, I mean, like going back to the working jaws though, because yeah, they are easily, I think, some of the most frustrating things to deal with in the game for sure.
Upon getting the shotgun, I'm not going to lie, the first working jaw I saw, I just shot square in the face.
And rightfully so.
Every
'cause they have a
single
stupid
working
face.
jaw I've come across and I've had ammo in the shotgun, I've just murdered because they have just caused me misery and they deserve it. It's to
like
the
that
point actually
because-
where I was using the shotgun so much that it ran out of ammo, so I just switched to the revolver. Granted, it takes a few more hits, but I've enjoyed it.
Trying to deal with the working jaws with a pistol on nightmare mode, just
Yeah, don't. Just accept death.
No, I think one of the things you have to deal with, especially when you get to the reactor, I think when you get down, stuff happens and you have to come back up. Only use the pistol, so you better hope that you've got a lot of ammo, because
I do.
Just do a Thor in Avengers Endgame and go for the head every single time, because the hazard jaws, nothing else hurts them. Like literally nothing else. You can't even use the stun baton. You can't use the EMP mine or anything. You cannot use any of that.
Yeah.
And I'm
They're
just like, you are
impervious to
designed
anything but bullets.
to hate me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have quite a bit because I haven't used the gun since, like, previous missions leading up to the Contact Apollo mission.
Mm-hmm.
Every other working job I've managed to slip past, more or less. And I mean slip past. And my idea of slipping past, and if they spotted me, I'm going to run like hell now.
Well, that's exactly that, because at least when it comes to the hazard jaws, you don't have the worry of the alien rocking around.
Oh, yeah.
Which is nice. So you can run to your heart's content, in theory, because they will eventually catch you.
Previously, if you're running down the corridor, the alien's like,
there is actually...
hello there.
There is actually a way to actually trap the alien in one of the missions, and I love it.
Right.
So there's a point where you have to initiate a lockdown, and you have to lock down all the doors. There's a moment where you have to go to the very top.
Mm-hmm. That's like the storage plot, isn't it?
Yeah, and one of the rooms has got there's two doors that leads to nowhere, and there's a little vent that's in the wall. Make some noise. Only a little bit though.
Yeah.
And then throw a flare into that door. Into that doorway, and the alien will come down and go and have a look at it. Then go behind him, turn the thing off, and the door will come down and it's still in there.
Oh, right.
So you can run around as much as you want, and it'll not teleport or anything, and it'll just constantly run at the door, but won't actually do anything. Granted, don't get too close because it will actually glitch through and kill you. But you could literally run right down to the bottom of the complex entirely, and then run back up, and it's still running, and it isn't moving. And you're like, this makes life so much easier. Like, the lockdown has actually worked. It doesn't actually work for the rest of the game, unfortunately, because it will eventually teleport back.
No, I didn't know that. Like, I just thought the whole lockdown thing was going to work, but hey ho.
No, there was a German gamer on YouTube that put up a clip of it with some really comedic music as he just runs around, and then gets too close and he's like, oops, never mind, should have saved.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I suppose if we're going to go into a little bit of gameplay, we can talk about the save point system. That is the reason that I'll stop playing the game every now and again. If I lose more than 15, if it's 10 minutes of progress, that's fine, because most of the time I've only shifted one room at a time, so it's fine.
Yeah.
If it's 15 to 20, no, I'll not play for the rest of the night and just go on maybe the night after or something.
Yeah, no, it's a big factor is into why I really nearly gave up is literally because of the save system in the game. It annoys me, the fact that every objective has no save guarantee. There are only very few instances of the game so far where it actually auto-saves. The rest you have to do manually. So when you're literally nearing the end of an objective and you die and you lose 15-20 minutes worth of progress, it is the absolute kick in the balls.
Oh, for sure. And
it just pisses me right off, because I'm like, I've done all that work and you can't even give me an autosave on a little objective, not even the tiniest of objective, you can't give me an autosave. So now every goddamn save point I see, even if I'm going in a circle, I'll just double save.
Yeah.
Every save point I see, no matter the risk, I'll save, because I do not want to lose more than 15 minutes worth of progress, because my god.
Yeah, nightmare mode, at any point that you see a save point, just do it immediately, because there's no guarantee that if you open that door, there isn't going to be something waiting for you. And it's so frustrating every single time. If I lose, I'm sure at one point, because I was moving so slowly between corridors, I'm positive I lost about half an hour when I eventually died. And I was like, I'm turning you off for at least a week. I'm not putting you back on again for another week.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying, considering, particularly the ones that involve the alien invading. it's really, really quite infuriating when, because you can't run, because he's going to know you're there. You can run very temporarily and hide somewhere, but then again, there's no guarantee that he's going to just drop down and kill you.
Yeah.
You know? So, even when, there's hostiles nearby, when it says the thing, I just take it anyway. Because I'm I just do not want to risk, spending absolutely ages in these corridors to get killed, to go back on a save, and then I've got to do all this objective again.
I don't blame you at all. It's a good system to have, which is ironic because it's not a very good system. Well, I say it's not very good. It's actually really clever, forcing you to really strategize.
Yeah, because it's literally, forcing you to strategize. If you've done an objective, and you have to, go back to wherever, I don't know, you have to go back to the tram station, the transit station, and there's a save point. Go to it. I would not take that risk. It may be a corridor away, but I'm not going to take that risk because God only knows what could happen. That's why I appreciate the game so much, despite it being excessively infuriating sometimes.
Yeah,
that it is very unpredictable.
Oh, for sure. As I say, obviously, I'm gonna have to tweak the script a bit now because now initially I was going to talk about the ending. I won't do that, obviously, for the purpose of not spoiling things to Dan. You're welcome. I'm not going to say it gets any easier. It doesn't.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna.
All I will say in regards to it is that it's part of it is quite abrupt, and I've never really liked it, if I'm honest.
Okay.
It does kind of leave things a little bit open-ended if you wanted to do an Alien Isolations. Taking the Aliens approach.
Right.
But otherwise, it's... I mean, I don't hate the ending by any means. I should stress this. I know some people really don't like it, but that's just because they've only just discovered fire. That's me saying they're idiots. But it's not the best, if I'm honest. And this is me. The worst thing is, I'm actually just talking about the final 2 minutes, quite frankly. So that's saying a lot. I can't talk about the rest leading up to that. But it leaves it in a place that feels a bit, okay, we're doing that now. I see. Okay. But at the same time, I don't know how else they could have ended it, quite frankly, without, I don't know, blowing up the sun. That would have been quite fun. There's definitely some explosions, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, the science lab going into orbit was quite
Yeah, trying to deal with the alien in that instance when it's just spinning around. Just be glad it didn't look like a scene from Inception where you're just constantly flipping from the floor to the wall to the ceiling to the floor to the wall again.
Honestly, it was me swapping between getting the airlock out the vent, in the vent, out the vent, in the vent,
out the vent, in the vent.
In the vent.
You could turn that into a song.
You really could, because honestly, that part, I was just really, really, really not wanting to go back on that checkpoint save where you basically got to kick off the whole thing again, and then Samuel's just oh, sorry, Ripley, bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, as I say, I'm not going to discuss the ending. So, for the purpose of Dan, he really doesn't have to worry about spoilers. He does have to worry about actually completing the game.
I'm worrying.
Yeah, reactor ain't fun. A couple of missions after that, not fun. And eventually, I'm sure there's one point where I think is the alien, the working jaw, and a hazard jaw, in one section, and I'm just might as well just be opening up the toy catalog, in this bit we're gonna have this creature, in this bit we're gonna have this one.
Yep.
It's
so which of you is going to kill me first?
But yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm on the 6th playthrough, so to say that I enjoy this game is fairly obvious, quite frankly, because I wouldn't have played it this often. If only because it's just really entertaining, especially when my girlfriend is sat next to us, just watching. There is one instance of her trying to play it, and it's quite funny because she doesn't really react when the alien gets her. She's just sort of like holding the controller and her tongue's just sort of like sticking out a little bit because she's concentrating.
And she's like, oh, I'm dead.
And then eventually she's, oh, right. I wouldn't care if she's got a Nintendo Switch and you can get isolation for the Switch and have someone saying, could you please get it for that? It's like, no. It's like, could you though?
Could you though?
I mean, like she's got No Man's Sky now, so I'm like, you could get Alien Isolation. You could do that. Seriously, I want to see what it looks like in 480p and holding it in your hand.
Yeah,
I want to know how difficult it is.
Like, although the difficulty is a huge issue in terms of patience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if you've forgotten to save, which I've done a numerous amount of times because I'm so sick of the mission, I just want to do it. Nothing wants to stop me. I get killed, then I'm back again. I'm just going in a circle here. So it's literally like, Ripley, spin the wheel.
Exactly.
It looks like you're getting killed by the Joes. Like, great. Top notch.
I wouldn't even care with the nightmare mode. It wasn't actually there in the original game. It was done in a post-release patch. And I'm like, oh, how nice of you. Thank you very much for that inclusion.
You know, the game's hard
Creative
enough, but
assembly,
now we just want to make
monsters.
it harder.
It's like, oh, you guys thought it was difficult. Let's make it 3 or 4 times that. And get rid of a couple of things for you. Be fine. It'll be fun. It'll be like a walk in the park. No, it's actually a crawl in the park, and most of the time you're going backwards because they won't stop coming towards you.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
That being said, I think by the time that you actually get to the end, if and when, I think it will be really satisfying. Just be like, I can relax now. As I go and play
I have
it again,
a feeling
probably.
it's gonna be like the kind of Zen garden ending where I'm just at peace.
Yes. So I mean, like, you're just sort of meditating, but instead of dressed as like yourself, you dress as like a xenomorph, just like, all is well now.
Dressed as a xenomorph with me little Zen garden and me bonsai tree.
I'm picturing that now. That sounds awesome. Zen is severely lacking in xenomorphs.
Zen is seriously lacking in Alien Isolation, my friend.
More like
it's the furthest
xenomorphs.
thing from it.
Ew.
Yeah, quite literally, Xenomorph.
Didn't say that.
Yeah, you did just say that.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry, Dan.
I probably will finish it, like, in the next couple of weeks or so.
Mm-hmm. I really love the fact that you're you're about 2/3 of the way through the game, and you're like, I'm going to finish it in a couple of weeks. As opposed to, a couple of days.
Because reactor, and you haven't really sold me well on that. Oh yeah, it's like really difficult, by the way. I'm like, oh great, mission 6 was an absolute bomb site of a mission.
Would it have been better for me? Well, would it have been better for you if I said that it was easy?
No.
There you go.
Because then I just would have called you an absolute liar.
You're probably going to call us an absolute liar anyway, because you'd probably say, you said it was really difficult. You actually lied. It was even worse than that.
I wonder if it actually would be like, imagine if I play it and I'm like, that was the easiest mission in the game.
If you do, I will eternally hate you. Because I hate that mission.
Severely doubt it, because I'm not even properly in the mission, literally the bare bones of the mission, and I already hate the look of it. It already looks ominous enough. I'm like,
visually,
this is gonna be fun.
Quite frankly.
Oh yeah, it looks like a reactor,
Yeah, doesn't look like the one in Chernobyl, but there's that. But yeah, I'm sure. I think in a couple of weeks, which will have to be anyway, because that's how time works. You might have to give us a bit of an update as to whether or not you've actually completed it, and I might just do a little tally as to how long it actually took.
Yeah,
mostly just for fun, because I know how difficult the
tally
game is
just
anyway.
tick it off the days. Yeah, I think that a couple of weeks is probably a good sort of
being realistic
estimate. Yeah, being realistic. Yeah, because I'm not going to flash record and I'm like, oh, you know what it is? I really fancy just finishing Alien Isolation. No, it's not going to happen. No.
No. But yeah, I'm sure I'll finish my 6th playthrough probably in a couple of weeks as well. But that's because I'm like 6 missions behind you. I've still beaten it 5 times. I will continue gloating that because, quite frankly, I'm just happy that not only did I finish the damn thing once, I finished it 5 times and I still like it. Like, honestly, I can't think of any other game beyond maybe, like, I don't know, maybe Batman Arkham Knight, which I've completed on multiple occasions and still enjoyed it. That is a topic of discussion on an episode in and of itself, frankly. Maybe whenever that reaches an anniversary. I don't know, is that next year? Christ, it might actually be next year. Ooh. No. It might have to be the Arkham games next. Bugger. It's always plenty of content. But yes, I think that's our wrap up on Alien Isolation. I don't think we can say much more than that beyond spoiling things for Dan.
Yeah.
Extra game. I've played it. I'm never going to finish it. There's an alien in it. The end. Good talk.
The character arc of my playthrough is literally alien appears, alien torments me for about 25 minutes.
Yeah, it kind of does nothing more than that, quite frankly. But again, it's still fun for the most part.
Yeah.
And the fact I'm still revisiting it really says a lot, quite frankly, because I don't really do that.
Yeah.
And I don't even really do horror games to begin with as well. So the fact I'm even interested, that
it's surprising.
Yeah, it is. But yes, that has been our thoughts on Alien Isolation for this week's episode of The Real Podcasters. So this is technically going out in May, not April. I know I initially promoted it as like the final April episode until I decided to change things a little bit. So there'll not be an episode next week. I don't think there's going to be one the week after. So there's probably going to be a little bit of a break because I'm going away to Norway for a week. From this time, by the time this episode goes out, a week after that, I'm going to be gone. So big break on that. So May is going to be kind of sparse for episodes. I think I've got 3 lined up. Technically this one, because it's going out at the beginning. So I'll say the next month we're going to be talking about one show we should have spoken about like a month or 2 ago. But Dan hasn't finished it yet. That being The Last of Us Season 1. Because I really want to talk about that.
Dan hasn't even started it.
Have you actually started it?
No.
Even better, I'm accurate. And then we'll also be talking about one of the shows that I've wanted to talk about for a very long time is Chernobyl, the HBO miniseries from 2019. And he hasn't watched it either.
No.
Maybe he won't. Who knows? Maybe we can push it back to next year. It's entirely possible.
Oh god.
But yeah, trying to like plan everything for me, which is already quite difficult because I'm away for like 2 or 3 weekends. So if you don't hear from us on here, it'll be on Graveyard Chit Chat. Hopefully we get to that one before I depart. But yes, that's basically a long-winded way of saying expect an episode in about 2 or 3 weeks. Quite frankly.
Yeah, nicely wrapped up, Regan.
Nice. Thanks, Dan. Good God. I try so hard.
Sorry, it's just the irritability of Alien Isolation. It's kind of just still, kicking me in the balls a couple of times.
I honestly thought for a second that you meant like the irritability of like co-hosting with me. I'm like,
well, that
is just
harsh.
Rude.
It'd be like comparing you to the actual alien in that game. You do nothing but screw me over.
Do you know what the difference is between me and that bloody Xenomorph, Dan?
One of you isn't blown out into space yet?
Not quite. At least with the alien, at least it's fictional when it's annoying. I'm unfortunately very, very real.
I am very real.
I think. Otherwise, this is like a Blade Runner scenario.
I am life.
Funny. But yes, that has been it for this week. Thank you very much for listening. I do hope you enjoyed it. As ever, any sort of support would be fantastic. Links as ever to where you can listen to us, our social media, all that sort of stuff. Leave ratings, reviews, blah 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 blah. You know how this works. That's good because I don't. Even after 53 episodes, doing really well. But yes, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in a few weeks. But until then, it's goodbye from Dan.
Ta-ra.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.